Hello, welcome back to the Yami Shibai podcast. I am your co-host, Ghosty, joined by the legend, the man himself. I'm here with the Germ.
Hey, what an intro!
I tried to come up with some more hype than that, but I was at a
don't
loss for words. You're just such a legend.
Don't worry about it.
Next time I'll come with some more energy. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Excited for another episode of Yami Shibai.
Mm-hmm. And you're
I'm
back
wearing
from
a t-shirt.
You're back from your New York trip.
I was actually in London.
Yep, Australia.
Yep. Another major world city.
I put that in our family chat, and you corrected me serious. And I was like, "Oh no, he doesn't know I'm joking."
Well, there's times when you haven't known what city I'm living in, so
you did tell me like a week earlier.
Possible.
And I thought it was obvious because the pictures you had were definitely not New York.
I couldn't be sure, so I had to verify.
It's like, oh no.
He thinks so highly of me.
Oh, the trust my brother has in me.
You know what I didn't do while I was in New York?
What?
Drive through any tunnels.
Oh,
and that brings us into today's episode. Today we're watching season 3, episode 2. Do we have the title anywhere?
Yep.
Yes. Tunnel. Oh, I guess I could have guessed that. I actually didn't transition that intentionally. So step right up and have a look. It's time for Yami Shibai podcast. Ba-ba. All right, we kick things off. We join our main characters lost on some backcountry road.
I like how their book is labeled map.
Very straightforward. This must be in the days before smartphones.
Definitely.
They argue a bit before noticing that the fuel gauge is on empty. They must have been driving for a while through these backcountry roads.
Or very not fuel efficient car.
Also possible. They argue whose fault this is before coming to a fork in the road. To the left, an average road, or a tunnel to the right. One of them notes, the tunnel isn't on the map, but the tunnel seems like the right direction, so they choose the tunnel. Cut to the next scene. They're outside of their car, pushing it down in the darkness of the tunnel. They have run out of gas.
Very hard cut. It's just from them throwing in the tunnel to this.
Straight transition.
I didn't skip anything here.
No time to waste. They decide to take a break from pushing the car through the tunnel, seeing no end in sight, kind of coming to the conclusion that they should probably just walk out anyway. Driving down the tunnel was a mistake, actually, because there's nowhere to park the car on the side when the gas runs out.
That's true.
So their only hope now is that another car comes their way to help them.
But that was the rear mistake, not having a full gas tank.
Yeah, true. They talk about how they should be soaking in their hot spring by now, but instead they're stuck in this car in a tunnel.
You know, it's kind of like a sauna.
I imagined it cold, actually.
Inside a car, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, without the heat, get cold quick. And suddenly, there's some friendly kids looking in the car window. They seem not alarmed by this at all.
Nope.
But the man in glasses hesitates to ask them anything, since something seems a bit weird. The kids, without looking away, slide around the front of the car. Now the kids' heads start to go up, where now they can see they are attached to what looks like green and black poles. The heads go backwards away from the car. Then suddenly the heads shoot forward, headbutting the car's windscreen.
Hey, let me give the effect.
Very flattering screenshot there. Some more heads appear, looking eerily similar to the first two. Using the heads as feet, something walks over the car. They make sure the doors are locked, but spot the back window is still open.
Oh,
The man in the driver's seat reaches over to pull the handle up, but the children's heads start to squeeze through.
quite scary,
Such
honestly.
a violent looking scene here.
Very unpleasant.
We cut to the outside of the car to see a spider slug thing on top. Fade to black and hear a tire squeal. That doesn't make much sense because, it's this new car stopping.
Yeah, it's the new
We
car.
join a balding middle-aged man who thinks he hit something in the tunnel. He looks around, only seeing a wet trail leading to his car. He gets back in his car, but didn't check his back seat, where we see our two main characters' heads smiling away. Wow, they got away with it.
Yeah, they must have got away.
The middle-aged man spots them, asking way too calmly what they're doing back there. We see our main characters' heads are now attached to the sludger's feet.
Do you like the sludgers?
It's a good description of whatever this thing is.
Yeah.
The camera leaves the car, hearing the man's yells, seeing a whole bunch of weird giant insects with heads in various places. The end. Whoa. Creepy.
And then, how did the end screen change?
Is it two heads now? It was only one last time.
There was only
right?
one last time.
I expected a more dramatic change from
No.
when you were talking about last week. I thought there was going to be some crazy shit.
I was really setting it up, wasn't I? So does
So
there
next
seem
week I'm predicting 3 faces.
Yeah. How do you think they're going to fit 3 to 13 faces in here?
It's going to be hard, actually.
Yeah.
They'll have to be smaller and further back or something.
We'll have to see next week. Woo! It was, if you're going on a trip, you really should have a little thing of gas with you.
Who does that, though?
I know, right? But,
I don't know. I think it would smell bad in the car. And
yeah.
I think there's something, this might be wrong, but I think you're not supposed to drive around with fuel in your trunk. Like if you get into a car accident, they're worried it'll cause a fire or something like that.
That's true. You're probably not supposed to.
I'm not sure about that, though.
Yeah. That sounds right.
I've done something similar before where I forgot to get gas and we were driving through a park and we were worried there was going to be no gas for a long time, but luckily it was around like the last possible corner where it could have been. So
you travel a lot, though. It's easy to forget like once or twice.
Yeah, that's true. That was the one time.
Yeah.
It was kind of dire.
You don't want to hear something crazy about this episode, though?
What's that?
It hinted that children died.
That's true, but when their faces were on the feet of the sludger,
yeah,
they also looked younger almost. So it might actually be
that's interesting.
Like adult faces. Like I don't know, they kind of look like kids in his backseat to me, maybe just because of the height.
Maybe the height, yeah. I didn't get that impression, but that's really interesting.
I don't know if that was intentional or not.
This whole thing kind of reminds me of Annihilation.
I can't remember, I guess spoilers for anybody watching.
Yeah.
I can't really remember how it ends. I just remember the scene where they're in a pool and there's like the horribly disfigured person.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Annihilation?
Yep, I think that's Annihilation. She finds a copy of herself. She hands it a thermite grenade and then is able to get away, and the thermite grenade goes off, destroying the mysterious thing.
Is there some implication at the end that maybe she's not the original?
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool movie, but in my head, it's like combined with a bunch of other sci-fi movies that I can't remember exactly where it starts and ends.
The reason it reminds me of Annihilation is because a lot of the creatures, their DNA combines. So you get like...
that's why, you get the weird things, right?
Yeah, like plants that have like human DNA that like grow in the form of a human.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. Very horrifying.
Mm-hmm. Trying to remember what the
movie,
bear was combined with.
It's like a tiger or something, wasn't it?
It might have been a person as well. I don't remember.
Yeah,
that kind of reminded me of the human face feet.
The creatures in this episode are pretty interesting.
They were enjoyable.
It seems like the faces, human faces on insects, is something that's pretty common in Japanese folklore.
Yeah,
I've never seen something with faces as feet, though.
that's true. You don't think it'd work very well.
It was kind of more like they used the heads as shoes.
Yeah, it does feel like that, right?
I guess that's what it was supposed to be.
Let's go take a look at the other creatures there, because they're. Do you think it's the two people, like their faces are everywhere, or do you think this is a bunch of different people?
I think it's a bunch of different people, but the wormy-looking thing looks like it has mostly the same face, if not
My
all the same face.
assumption, if you're correct, is that it's more of an art limitation.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
So, what do you think the explanation is for this tunnel? Is it like a portal to another dimension or something?
I think it's a new life form that adapts other creatures to itself.
So there's more on the annihilation side.
Yeah, that's my theory. I don't think there's a
But the
correct answer.
The tunnel wasn't on the map though, so there's something paranormal going on there.
That's true. I'm not sure.
I think it's bridging on the fear of being alone in the darkness in the countryside or something.
And insects.
I mean, big time insects. Yeah.
And insects.
The slug spider thing is pretty gross.
You want to hear something weird about the slug spider thing?
What's that?
Everyone just called it the spider in the comments.
Oh, really?
No one commented it was also a slug.
There's like a huge, like they show multiple times the slime/water trail. I guess maybe people just think it's water within the tunnel or something.
Maybe. I mean, maybe spiders are wet. I don't know.
Maybe they're just not familiar with spiders or something.
Maybe they just didn't take a close look or think about it, but it was very obviously like a spider slug thing.
I think we're just getting used to getting the key insights. There's something last episode too where we were surprised nobody mentioned something.
Like, look at that thing.
That
thing is clearly not just a spider.
Yeah, it's definitely, unless it's like webbing or something, but that doesn't seem quite right.
Yeah, I think it's coming out of the wrong part too.
We also never see any kind of like spider face or anything like that.
Yeah, I wonder if it has human face.
It seemed, well, my impression was more like that was just like a
we do get
body.
a little bit of a view of it walking over the car. So I don't think it has a human face.
Yeah, I think it's just like it is more like a spider's body.
Yeah, especially in this view.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Not really. The artwork is nice.
Nice is an interesting way to describe it.
Well, I think it's interesting looking is what I should really say.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's true. The ladybug one is pretty cool.
It's too bad it didn't make it into the episode.
It could be in the darkness somewhere.
And I'm pretty confident none of these show up in any other episodes. So this is all artwork from this episode.
Maybe they do like these concepts before they come up with the episode.
Maybe. Do you see the one on the left? It's using hands to propel itself the opposite way around. That's crazy.
I was looking at that too. It's like a human train.
Yeah, except the hands are holding on the train and it's using the stumps to move.
Yeah, that's weird. Bad design.
Very entertaining to look at, though. God, the one on the right with the human faces coming out of its belly, that could be its own episode. That thing's terrifying.
That one almost feels too creepy for Yami Shibai.
Yeah, honestly.
I actually think this was one of the creepiest monsters on here, probably, so far.
It's definitely up there. It's definitely up there. I'm not as confident as you it's the most creepy monster.
I said one of. It
Yeah.
wasn't that strong a statement.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that. It's definitely one of the creepiest monsters. So, if you're all done and I'm all done, let's move on to the comments.
Let's see what other people are saying about this spider.
I'll read the first one. Oh, each he ban mom.
Ichiban.
Ichi-
Ichiban.
Ichiban mom. When the heads were squeezing through the window, it makes me feel uncomfortable, but in a good creepy way.
How is that good?
It's good to feel uncomfortable sometimes in a safe environment. Come on now.
The imagery of it, where like you see him like squeezing,
Mhm.
was pretty interesting.
I think we even commented on it when we were going through it.
Yeah,
Very
we did.
uncomfortable.
X Noel says it's not that scary. Don't lose your head, guys, and then
Boom
did
boom.
this face emoji.
Good, right?
Yeah, good use of that face.
Okay, Cat14 says, how does the spider keep its victim so happy? That's a good question.
That's assuming that it's not just like pulling their muscles tight, so they're just like.
I want to believe they're happy. That's true. Like if it pulled all the muscles, it probably would be like make them like look happier.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I can't remember if their eyes were open really widely or not.
Shocked happy.
Tesby said,
Don't
he's
ignore that
replying
first bit.
to the person we just talked about, right?
Yeah.
That's fear. I mean, what if everyone you knew was just a leg of a spider?
I think this was the one. Let me double check. Yeah, I couldn't find the original comment.
Oh, I wonder what they were referring to then.
That sometimes happens.
I guess somebody probably deleted their accounts at some point.
But when people delete their accounts, it still shows up. It just says deleted account.
They could have deleted their comment too for some reason, I guess.
Yeah, maybe they could have deleted their comment. Yeah. But I like the comment, though. What if everyone you knew was just a leg of a spider? You don't know.
That's true.
Oh, this is it, isn't it?
Oh, it was
ASRFDFW. There, I had it in the wrong order. I might be thinking of next week, the one I could
That's
find.
a good reveal.
Yeah. I agree, but I feel as if this anime has a bad atmosphere to it. Not sure how to describe this feeling, and drowns me in.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
they mean in a good way or a bad way? They got through 3 seasons.
Yeah, I feel like when you use the word drown, you're not usually using it in a good way.
Yeah, it sounds pretty negative.
Yeah, but yeah, like this kind of stuff, it's not for everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
but they're 3 seasons in, though. You think they would have figured that out by now?
Mm-hmm. That's just very true. They might be just here for the monsters and thrills.
True. DJ C4 has a spoiler.
Oh,
they said.
What is it? What could the spoiler be?
This is only from 3 years ago, so this is pretty recent, actually.
Fairly recent.
Which way now? A tunnel? That's not on the map. That's probably private property. Best stick to the road we've got a map for. End credits.
It's so good.
Going on the road just in general would have made way more sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as far as they know, maybe that tunnel leads to like a military like place. Like
it's true. Another possible ending.
Maybe they never finished the tunnel. Maybe it just goes halfway through the mountain.
You just drive into a wall. Yeah. It actually does seem possible where it's not on the map at all.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay, last comment from Megatron himself.
Well,
they seem to have shifted eyes of horror this season. They seem to have shifted styles of horror this season. To I don't really know what the description for it is. More like body horror than the natural psychological horror that it was the first season. I think he's nailed it. This Megatron.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I agree with this too. I was thinking about it this episode that there wasn't really much of a lesson to it.
Follow the map.
Yeah, normally they would have like some kind of like the characters would do something bad or like there'd be a kid that was doing something. But this one, it was just kind of like we go into a tunnel and something creepy is in there.
Oh, I have to say, there was a few comments that said secret tunnel.
Nice.
There were a few. I thought I should mention that. So themes and metaphors. We kind of hit on this a little bit, but like, don't take
I don't.
unfamiliar roads. Always keep your
It's
eye
not
on your
really.
fuel gauge.
Yeah, it didn't really seem to have that much further meaning to me beyond.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Don't trust insects.
I guess so.
Yeah. Ah, I
Be
tricked you.
prepared.
The slug spider's not an insect, it's an arachnid insect.
Classic. I should have known.
Actually, is a slug an insect? I don't think it is.
I have no idea.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's
go with
weird.
yes.
Yeah, like, nothing much to say on this front, so. Personal scores. I
You want to
mean,
go first?
sorry?
Do you want to go first?
Oh, yeah, I'll go first. It had a really interesting ending, kind of a bland beginning. Actually, the middle was more interesting. The start was really weak. The middle was interesting. The ending was interesting, but not a lot happened.
Yeah, I agree.
So, like, personally, I think I'm just gonna give it a 5.
Yeah, the only real interesting thing to me was the monsters. So I'm in the same
Yeah.
ballpark. Like the story is very straightforward. Um, it doesn't really do that much. They drive into the tunnel and get killed by a monster. And there's like a weird transition at the end when the next person comes in and they're part of the spider monster now. Like that part just felt a little bit disjoint to me. But the
Yeah.
monsters are still good. So that's an important factor in my scores. So I'm gonna go with a 4.
That
Even though
makes sense.
it felt like it was lackey in other places.
I mean, I'm only 1 point ahead of you, so it's a 9. The episode gets a 9. One of us could have just given it a 9 too.
That's true. This is a possible single individual score.
Yeah, I feel like we've said everything about the episode. So, the next episode is called Rat.
Such simple episode names so far this season.
Not helping you in your guessing.
This sounds like it's going to be another like physiological horror, like something gross happens. I'm guessing probably the character hears something in the walls they think is a rat, and they try to kill it, and then it's something that's more horrific than a rat.
Close, but not quite.
Next time.
Thank you for joining me, Ghosty.
It's been good. See you next week for the most themed episode.
Mm-hmm. The Rat episode. And thank you all for being you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.